Have you heard of a vertical garden before? In this video, I'm going to show you what I used this year just to try something a little bit different because I made a mistake. Hi, I'm Michelle from JMC Family Farms. This year when I planted my butternut squash, I didn't think they were all going to do as well as they did. So now I'm stuck with, I've got too many butternut squash plants in too small of a space. So I thought I needed to come up with another solution. So I thought, why not try a vertical garden? Now my carpentry skills are terrible. So I was trying to think of something that might be easy that I could just do myself. It is not pretty, but I think it will do the trick. So just behind me here, I made almost a teepee. I put the sticks together. I did put a couple of screws in the top, and then binder twine is my friend. I use binder twine on almost everything. I'll zoom in for you so that I can show you exactly what I did to hold it together, and I hope that it's gonna work. Really, my biggest concern is that this was going to be sturdy enough so that if we had a really strong wind that it didn't get knocked over. So what I did was, around here, I just wrapped binder twine, and I really did a couple of layers. I just looped them together and then attached them. So you can see it is definitely not a pretty sight, but I just did a few layers all the way up until we got to the top, and you can see that is just a mucky mess. But I'm hoping that because of all the binder twine that's on there, and then I did put a couple of screws at the very top so that I think it's gonna hold it together. But anyway, time will tell if this is actually gonna work. I've seen some online that are a lot nicer than this one, but I thought, oh well, let's just use what I have and we'll see what happens. On the teepee, what I did with the binder twine is I didn't even bother to cut it for some pieces. I just kind of intertwined it within each other just to form a knot so that I just then could make it longer. And I'll show you exactly what I did. What I did to secure it is I wrapped it around here so that I really made sure that this was not going to slip at all. So I just kind of put it through like that, wrapped it around an extra time, and then went to the next piece so that I was sure this wasn't gonna slip around, because again, there's really nothing for it to grab. And this, I think, is gonna work okay. So you can see what I mean here. These two plants are way too close together. And then I have another one back there as well. So what I'm hoping is gonna happen is I'm gonna train this particular one to go up the side of this. So I just pulled it up. I'll either use some sort of like a leotard or something like that if I need to tie that up there just gently so that it can still grow up the side. But I'll just kind of play it by ear and see. I wanted to be really careful at the root that I just didn't pull this up too far, and fairly close here. So I think that we should be okay. But if I notice that this just isn't doing so well, then my lucky thing is that this particular one here is so close to the other base. I could get this one to climb up this stick, and then I'll leave the other one on the ground. It's just so that I can have enough space to let this grow properly. From the information that I was reading online, basically if you're growing a vertical garden, it's supposed to help with disease in your plants. And then of course it takes less space. So we'll see if this actually works. And the nice thing is that in the fall, I will be able to compare my butternut squash that grew on the ground versus my butternut squash that grew on this structure instead. So I'll see, was it really worth it? Did it work? And then next year, should I build something different? Or do I just make do with something like this? So time will tell, and I'll definitely let you know. Now you may be wondering what this structure is in my garden, and I guess I could say once a hockey mom, always a hockey mom. And yes, it's a hockey net that's in my garden. I try to make do with what we have here, and this net is broken and it was gonna go to the dump. And then one day I was thinking, I wonder what I could do with that net. And sure enough, I thought, I wonder if I could create a vertical garden. So I thought I'll give it a try. So I'll show you what I did, and I actually love this hockey net, and I'll show you why. Now, if you've ever seen a hockey net close up, you can see that the hockey net itself has to hook into all of these little brackets. So I thought that's perfect. Now, my biggest concern with the hockey net is if your kids have hockey nets and they've got them out in your yard, the biggest issue is that they tip forward. So I attached them to the fence posts on either side here, just so that the hockey net wouldn't tip forward on me. Now the next thing I did, again, because all these little brackets are along here, what I did is I put some binder twine along here, and then at the bottom, because I needed something for it to attach to, I just got a long piece of wood and I hooked the binder twine onto here, because then these are cucumbers and my poor little cucumber plants are not really doing all that well. But I'm hoping that what's gonna happen is once these cucumber plants grow bigger, I could definitely add more binder twine along the back, because all those brackets are all back there, and then of course they attach to the top. But even on the side, as long as I can get them to grow here, they can weave up and around that net. So I probably should have used this for my squash, because these poor little cucumbers are not looking so good. Make sure you let me know in the comments below if you've tried vertical gardening before, and how did you compare your results from the vegetables that you've grown normally on the ground versus in a vertical garden? Did you like it? Was there less disease? Would you do it again? I'd love to hear down below in the comments. If you're new to gardening, there is so much to learn. Like pretty soon, there's gonna be a ton of tomatoes on these tomato plants, and I'm gonna be wondering, what should I do with these? Well, make sure you check out the video on your screen right now. In that video, I'm gonna explain to you how you can freeze tomatoes. No canning is required, no blanching, it's super easy. So make sure you check out the video on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.